We're 2-0 against them in the regular season. I don't think anything else is going to change for playoffs.
We're the reigning champs.
FlyQuest win a nail-biting Game 5.
I really want to defend our title.
FlyQuest got carried last split by Keen and Shrimp.
I would really want to show everyone that this split that we can carry ourselves.
Clutch Gaming, they're just bot lane with 3 players.
I don't think it's any secret that we play through bot lane. Piglet's our best player on the team, so we just play to our strengths.
Mike Young just getting torn to shreds as Piglet takes him down and picks up Olive for dessert.
Piglet is not a player that I have to prove against anymore.
I feel really confident, and I feel really confident about our 5 players.
I think we can easily beat them.
I think we have a really good chance going into playoffs.
I'm super excited to be here.
Hello everyone and welcome to day 1 of the 2018 Academy League Summer Split Playoffs. Today's games are coming to you live from our Los Angeles studios where players have taken to the LCS stage for postseason competition. I'm Julian Pastry Timecard, joining Mark Zimmerman for his biannual appearance at the LCS Arena Caster Desk.
Biannual? I'm here 3 times. Both Academy and then Collegiate.
You know what? I'm not good at math. So after 8 weeks of regular season play, 6 teams remain in the Academy League playoffs with hopes to earn the title of Academy Champion.
Yep, we capped the regular season off last week, and so ultimately the standings reflected kind of the story that we are seeing, the best versus the rest. Cloud9 Academy was the clear frontrunner all split long, while Team Liquid and CLG Academy were battling for second place up until the final day. But for the remaining of the playoff teams, it was a battle of seeding, which ultimately ended in a 3-way tie, all of which was resolved through head-to-head record.
And that leaves us with the following bracket. Cloud9 and Team Liquid's finish earned them buys into the semi-final, and the remaining teams will take to Summoner's Rift over the next 2 days to fight their way into the next round. All quarterfinal games will be played on patch 8.15, with the remainder of the tournament moving to patch 8.16. Today, though, we'll see 4th and 5th seeds face off in Clutch Gaming and FlyQuest Academy, and then 3rd place finisher CLG Academy will battle 6th seed 100 Thieves tomorrow afternoon.
Yep, and the 8.15 versus 8.16 stuff is all just because the LCS playoffs will be on 8.16, and so we've heard complaints in the past by Academy and Challenger players that they end up on 2 different patches, and it can sometimes lead to some awkward moments on who you want to scrim because you're playing on 2 patches, and with a number of subs of Academy teams also potentially coming in for the main roster, you want them all playing on the same patch internally as well.
Well, let's get into today's matchup with Clutch Gaming taking on defending champions from spring. It is FlyQuest Academy. Before we get into the story of these squads, let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Clutch Gaming Academy. In the top lane, Max Strobo. In the jungle, Moon. Mid-Sun, bot and support, Piglet and Vulcan, and their coach, McScrag.
And on the red side for Game 1, it's FlyQuest Academy. No in the top lane, Meteos in the jungle, Peck and Wolf mid with Aerie and Quan in the bot lane, and coach Gabriel Zoltan Johan.
Clutch Academy was the only team, though, to come into the summer split without any roster changes from the spring season.
And the most visible result of this has been the improvement of some of the newer players on that team in the Academy scene. That, combined with the synergy gain from playing together for 6 months, has led to a better record in the summer split and a top 4 finish in Academy.
Also received a lucky boost in the form of Solo, who helped secure their head-to-head tiebreaker victory over FlyQuest and 100 Thieves, and a couple wins with Apollo and Hakuo as well. But for the defending Academy champions FlyQuest, the summer split has been a hard road.
Yeah, FlyQuest has certainly felt the loss of Keen and Shrimp and even JJ in the middle of this split, but they've recovered well enough to earn themselves a playoff berth. And while the individual performances on the team have not really stood out, FlyQuest's macro game and teamwork is very strong, and that's bolstered by the addition of the veteran LCS jungler in Meteos.
Makes sense. As we further break down the matchup, though, let's go lane by lane and see where the strengths and weaknesses of each team lie. Starting off in the top lane, it is Max Trovo versus No.
Yeah, and the biggest thing here for Max Strobo is that he's improved a lot since Spring Split. Still dies a fair amount on his own, but that's a lot because of his oriented fighter play where he's using a lot more of those, whereas No, both Spring and Summer Split has kind of fulfilled the role of a tank player, and he's very consistent, performs very well with this team, but it's not as flashy or exciting. And I think in a best of 5, having more options available should be good. So I'm looking for Max Strobo to step up and get the edge here.
Moving down the line, though, takes us into the jungle with not 1 but 2 former LCS players in Moon and Meteos.
Yeah, and these pedigrees definitely speak for themselves. Moon is a pop-off player, very aggressive, and has a handful of pocket picks like the Evelyn that we've seen time and time again. This results in really high highs and very low lows when these work out or they don't. Whereas on the flip side, Meteos is a lot more of a strategic player. He's playing around the map, playing through his win conditions very well, making sure that they get good objective control. And it's probably in his favor. Is no surprise that being that veteran LCS jungler.
Given the experience does make sense. It's a split so far, but it is kind of hard to pick a favorite in the mid lane as we move down there.
Yeah, it's hard to decide which of these two players ends up looking like the stronger player. Sun is generally considered better on Assassins, but has been playing a ton of Zoe because people are leaving that up against him, which leads him to be 5-1. So maybe FlyQuest want to ban that. Peckinwolf, on the other hand, feels like he has a little bit limited champion pool. He has what feel like Peckinwolf champions like the Corki that we saw in the past years, in this split being more the Orianna and the Ryze, and he's great on those champs, but when you start branching out more, it does feel like there's a drop-off.
Yeah, it does feel like mid lane is a bit of a wash, but as a result, bot lane will be the point of focus with Piglet and Vulcan facing off against Eri and Quan. And earlier, we did speak to Eri to get his thoughts on the matchup.
Clutch Gaming, they're just bot lane with 3 players, and their bot lane seems really tilted because of the LCS experience. I think we can easily beat them because Piglet is not really a player that I have to prove against anymore. Just typical player that I have to beat now.
Someone's tune has changed, Mark.
Yeah, very different from the first time we talked to Eri. When Piglet first played in the Academy League in the middle of spring, Eri ended up winning that game. We talked to him about it, and he said Piglet was dominating him in lane. It was very hard to play against. And here in summer now, a completely different tune, not worried about it. And I think that's great for Eri. He has actually improved and stepped up to be more of a carry player for this team. And that said, it doesn't come without some negatives, though, because losing JJ was definitely a hit. And Quan has been a little hit or miss. Sometimes has great games, sometimes not so much. Whereas on the flip side, for Clutch Gaming, Piglet has always been super, super strong in lane. Yes, sometimes he gets punished for being over-aggressive with that playstyle, but with Vulcan being one of the most attractive pickups for LCS teams probably heading into next year, everyone's talking about this guy as kind of the next Zeyzal in some ways. Everyone is expecting this to be an extremely strong bot lane, and so you have to kind of give your advantage to Clutch Gaming down there. And overall, with the fact that they have more advantages in lane, it does feel like Clutch has the edge in this matchup, but it should be noted that both these teams are 10-8, so it's a very small edge that they might have.
Yeah, not a whole lot here as far as breaking those ties go, so it should be a tight race between the 4th and 5th seeds. We'll get ourselves into our first draft of a best of 5. Also, a very different experience for a lot of these players.
Yeah, I think it's a huge deal that it's not just the finals that are on stage for the development of a lot of these younger players. Being able to get onto the LCS stage and get that experience is a huge deal for them earlier on than just the finals. So it's not just the top 2 teams. Now all 6 teams with this expanded playoffs will get legitimate stage time.
Yeah, we'll actually see a lot of teams that were very close. CLG comes to mind, of course, as a team that did a lot better and would have made it if the old system was in place, but did not get the opportunity to play in this matchup last time around because, of course, we didn't cut to top 6, we cut to top 4 in spring. Otherwise, I think we've seen a lot of movement this year, but especially this last summer, from Academy between the LCS and teams trying to use those resources a little bit more. And you can see veterans across both these teams as well. At least in the case of some of the newer players who don't have as much stage time, they do have some very experienced players by their side to hopefully guide them through that.
Yeah, some players are like Blabber and they don't get onto the stage, and then when they finally get, not even finally, as soon as they get their chance, they start performing. And some players like Vulcan, he went on there, had a couple oopsie moments in his first couple games on stage, and he's someone who might need a little bit more time to get accustomed to the stage, and so that's what's so great about the new playoff format.
Well, we'll see what happens here with Clutch on the blue side, banning Ryze and Rakan as their first 2. So as you mentioned, Peckham with kind of losing some of those signature champions. Kindred also off the board. Interestingly, blue side ban there because Moon does like the champion a decent amount. And of course, Fly on the other side, respecting jungle there with a Nocturne ban. Aatrox also joining in because people still don't want to play against Aatrox despite some of the changes. And one more ban here for FlyQuest Academy is they'll give first pick over to Clutch.
And it might be that Zoe that we were talking about. Maybe that's why Clutch Gaming banned the Kindred, because if the Zoe's left up, they're going to want to grab that right away. It is left up. We'll see if they end up taking that one. Or if it'll be the Akali.
Also, this is the thing. Akali actually left up and first picked here for Clutch Gaming.
Yeah, so that's probably why you see that Kindred ban, knowing that between Zoe, Akali, there's only a couple that they can ban. They take the Akali, and what people talk about with Zoe a lot of times, he struggles the most in assassin matchups. So this could be a bit of a blocker on that as well.
Well, first pick Varus here, so a very stable bot laner here for Eri, and generally pretty good in most lane matchups. Kind of makes sense that with how strong Piglet is on his own and also paired with Vulcan, that they do want to take a very stable and very strong laning marksman into the bot lane. And looks like maybe a classic here. Yep, Trundle locked in as well, presumably for Meteos.
Just getting some power picks for themselves. The Varus with the Ash Band becomes super high priority. You get basically the best utility bot laner left up. Has a strong laning phase as well. And you can flex into a lot of comps with it as well. You can go for the lethality, Blade of the Rune King, DPS Varus. Or if you want to go split push 1-3-1, you can go for the lethality wave clear poke Varus. And both those very strong builds.
Well, here looks to be maybe a takeover from the bot side of the map, but Graves also locked in for Moon in the jungle. We've seen it a lot into Trundle especially, so he'll be happy in that matchup on the aggressive side of it. And Braum actually the takeaway there away from Quan. Braum kind of makes every 2v2 lane in bot side feel pretty strong, so I think a smart takeaway there from Clutch.
Yeah, and it's also probably pretty good into Akali. Just Braum has always been good at locking down melee champions, so pulling that one away is pretty good. But FlyQuest answers back with another good tank engage option in the Alistar.
Also good at keeping people off your carries, like the Akali, as you mentioned, so I think a lot of that makes sense for those melee supports. Lucian here, though, banned away, so clearly Piglet has been putting time into that champion, or he's really someone that can always play it, so maybe just thinking, okay, you know what? Don't want to have to deal with that, potentially.
Has some of those soft synergies with Braum as well, with your double hit proccing his passive very quickly. Piglet being an absolute beast on Lucian. He has played a lot of Ezreal as well, so we might see more pinches coming in towards Piglet. We'll see if they continue to do that as Clutch starts targeting out some of the carries in the top side, surprisingly getting rid of that Rumble. I think No actually did have, three games on Rumble, and that feels like his primary carry threat, so no surprise to see them trying to push him off that.
Yeah, especially if Max Trobo has something more fighter-oriented in mind, but we'll see what this last band here for FlyQuest's first draft is. Like you said, I think Ezreal's an obvious candidate. Hey, look at you.
Hey, it's like I watch Academy. And with that, that's a lot of the power picks that Piglet likes to play off the board. We'll see where he goes from here. The Rakan ban, they're already having Braum. You assume Zaya's off the table as well.
Actually, a lot of like general marksman ban or marksman blockers, so I kind of like how FlyQuest have set up this draft.
And it speaks to, everyone was talking about in the intro about how much this is going to be a bot lane focused game, and if you're able to neutralize a lot of what he wants to do, that could be very strong as we see the LeBlanc counter
the world's fastest LeBlanc pick.
Well, so this is something we saw out of Mickey and a couple other people as a counter to the Akali. Your main abilities are able to come out through the Shroud, so you can land your W and your E still, even though Akali's technically not targetable. You can still see her outline if you hit her with damage recently, as well as the fact when she does pop out, then you just throw your Q on her instantly, and so you can get that pretty easy. Piglet going for that Jhin.
I like it. Again, very solid pick. Can be good with a number of different builds, and I think Piglet, no matter what, will play aggressive, so this is a champion where he can certainly get involved pretty early if he wants to. So the last pick is here though for Clutch. Max Trobo looks like he'll have to pick blind based on these setups. And what better blind pick than on, Moxie?
Maybe some. I mean, in solo queue at least, he's got a pretty abysmal win rate. And he's always been more of a competitive-oriented pick. We'll have to see if he can get through this one. But if you're going up against No, who you think is going to take a tank anyways, you'll take the tank versus tank matchup and not worry about getting counterpicked too hard. But I do like the Poppy quite a bit more.
Yep, both Poppy and Shen have seen pretty common counterplay into this pick. I think Poppy's a little bit better in her current state, so No is going to take that one into battle in the top side of the map. I am generally interested, though, that all this setup about Sun and Pekka have been like, you know what? They're not like hyper-impactful players, they're more role players, and instead of, the Orianna Rise, Galio, which was also banned, we have 2 assassins.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about this. It feels like Academy has always had more interesting drafts than the LCS. We got this like once or twice in LCS, but in Academy, we're getting Akali non-stop. Get it again here. And I do like what FlyQuest has put together for their comp. They have a lot of ways of stopping all the dashes and engage by Akali with that Poppy W, as well as the Alistar Pulverize. You have the Trundle to try and chew through the Ornn. If he ever gets ahead, you have a little bit better tank shredding there. And I think the Burst is pretty scary on the side of Clutch Gaming, but if you're grouped up 5v5 or splitting the LeBlanc and you're in a 4-1, I think, for the most part, FlyQuest have given themselves good tools to deal with Clutch's comp.
And it does feel like the identities we sort of gave these teams in the pregame are matching up relatively well here. Maybe a bit more power and individual champion ability on the Clutch side. Greg swoops in for the handshake at the last second.
Getting some last-minute pointers and win conditions off to the team.
But like you said, I think FlyQuest drafting very much like solid across the board. And just knowing that, you know what, we just draft consistent, strong picks, we should be able to scale well into the mid and late game and use the experience as a team and someone like Meteos to kind of lead the team in those scenarios.
Yep, and I'll be really interested to see if the decision of Clutch Gaming to kind of push Piglet's pick towards later in the draft will come back and punish them at all, because they did not really secure a great matchup for themselves or any power picks for Piglet. And, you know, if he is the best player on the team, maybe that's fine and you get more priority to your other players. Or if this comes back to bite them, they have to switch to the other philosophy of get your strongest player at the best positions in the draft.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but I think Clutch certainly favoring more of the power picks here early on. Akali will be fun to watch. Mid lane in general should be pretty exciting one, but we're out on the Summoner's Rift for the first game here. Clutch and FlyQuest Academy looking for a semifinals berth. They have tough opponents ahead of them, but we are far too far away from that.
And we got some FlyQuest fans in the house. They got Thunder Sticks, they got Chance. I saw they have pizza outside.
Yeah, FlyQuest doing a lot of work.
I don't know. Should probably ask the producer before I say this, but hey, come on down to the Academy, get some pizza and hang out and watch FlyQuest versus Clutch Gaming.
Maybe watch from home.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know what the rules are for attending.
All right, well, it looks like Moose is hanging out in the Pixel Brush, but everyone's just fanned out across the river early on. So despite some pretty good level 1 champs, looks like we won't have level 1 just yet.
No super aggression. They do have the Braum, but not much follow-up on the side. A lot of those champs generally considered pretty weak level 1 on the side of Clutch Gaming. So you go in, they get that one little ward, but they're not really looking to dominate a side of the map.
I think also looking for a lot early from both Mean and Meteos, kind of expected as some of the veterans, in Meteos' case, one of the longest standing players still in the competitive scene in North America. But pathing will be a big thing. Moon, again, will be looking to play aggressive, but Meteos has always been such a strategically sound player.
And you heard how excited he was for Academy World,
so
baby!
Excited.
Been to World 3 times, never been to Academy World. This is the best Academy players from around the world gathered here in Southern California to play this one out.
None of the information you just gave was wrong. So
nope,
yes.
It's 100% correct.
100% accurate. Certainly curious to see how this one plays. Like you said, LeBlanc does get some traction early in the matchup 1v1. We'll have a look in with Piglet and Vulcan. Looks like the race to level 2 is on. And Piglet going to try and get there, but obviously need to wait for the next wave. Nice bouncing grenade, though, does get some damage down onto Glenn.
Yep, small push advantage in their favor. Got that 4th shot trying to zone them away. There he gets it. And it looks like they'll get there first. But it feels like FlyQuest Academy knows they're backing off away from the level 2 all-in. It's one of those early things that you need to learn is how many minions till you hit level 2 in bot lane. It's the full wave plus the 3 melees. When you get that, you hit level 2, and that's one of the things that even pro players lose track of sometimes and get all in on.
Looks like they safely got to 2 themselves, though, so instead we'll maybe see... Yeah, Moon is going to go for an invade, but will be spotted by Meteos on this Raptor camp.
Got level advantage.
Going to try and get the big one. I think Meteos smited that away. Must have been because he's now level 3, and Pekka-Wolf going to roam up and find the chain. Moon maybe a bit too aggressive and insta-flash forward. And first blood over to FlyQuest Academy's Meteos.
Hard punish for that pathing decision. Wanted to try and steal away the Raptors, which Trundle, no surprise, leaves towards later when he starts on red side. But Meteos clears back up there faster than he was anticipating. And you're saying that LeBlanc will have the edge in this matchup early on, has the push and is able to collapse first. They hop onto Moon, who I guess didn't have a ward to put in that brush. That's usually what you'll do, and you'll pull the Raptors further away from the camp so you can get out easier. And that's kind of the feast or famine we're talking about with Moon sometimes, is he just gets caught out, starts falling behind, and now Meteos in a counter matchup where the Graves is usually picked into the Trundle for a tempo advantage is behind.
And then Meteos actually, I think he left the crap to later, but now just took it and is actually looking to level 3 solo the Ocean Drake. We'll see if he gets some help from maybe his bot lane in just a moment, but he's trying something here. Smiting it away. All right, now going to have Quan rotate in. Looks like it's going to work out. FlyQuest with a very aggressive take, but Ocean is so good early if you can get it. Meteos, though, has to be careful. He's got no smite charge for a few more seconds. He's going to get it. Vulcan can't quite steal it.
Yeah, it looked like they were aware of what Piglet was going to go there with a W block, as both of them kind of moved in to make sure he didn't snipe that one away, because, like you said, Meteos had to smite early to not die. And gets an Ocean Drake early. And sometimes we talk about people tunneling too much, using their early jungle advantage into getting a Drake that doesn't net them anything initially, and then the other jungler can use that time to get back into the game. This is a time that I like it, because the Ocean Drake will be great for your lanes and the early sustain that comes in from them.
Electrocute proc there, I think, by Sun as he throws the kunai out. So Pekka probably going to have to back away here. No TP in mid lane for either assassin, actually double ignite, which is the kind of thing we like to see. Well, it looks like Sun does have kind of an early lead here, 1v1, and same is kind of true for Max Trobo, although no, despite taking the bad end of a trade just a moment ago, he's now going to TP back and be just fine.
No surprise to see this happen with the Akali lanes early on. You take the Doran shield, you have a lot of sustain usually. Sometimes in your domination tree, I'm not sure exactly what he went, but you can take Taste Their Blood and Ravenous Hunter. Yep. Get a lot of sustain that way, plus you're just natural sustain through your Q, and eventually you get the Gunblade, and suddenly Akali becomes a bit of a sustain tank. And early into the laning phase, sometimes that leads you to being able to bully out those other matchups. That's kind of what happened there, but we'll see what happens from here on out, because I'm going to be watching Sun a little closely to see if he's hitting those combos like I outlined as we see some aggression in the ball.
Yeah, Ari almost going to get stunned, but actually a nice pulverized timing there from Quan. He's going to move Vulcan to put Unbreakable up and take a little bit of damage in return. Looks like nice and even here on the bot side, and Ari actually really indicating he's not worried at all. Actually has a cull here in this lane as Pekka going to dive in on Sun looking for the chain. He's currently level 625, but Sun's going to move over there and get access to his ulti, and no chain landing means no gank for Meteos. Nice block from Vulcan though. He's going to give peak ulti safety to Recall, who instantly TPs back to the lane. Pekka also back. Chain's going to latch. No, not quite. Does dash away first.
Yeah, well, want to see. That was a pretty clean escape while also hitting the shuriken on him. Did not want to re-engage with the tether on, so Sun backed down, broke the tether. But a close trade overall. Both of them having ignite. You can expect some solo kill. I'd bet on it before 15 minutes. There's going to be a solo kill or a gank in the mid lane.
All right, we'll see what happens there. Monks are usually pretty good at the prediction game, so we shall see. Double Dark Seal though for Peckenwolf plus Corrupting Potion, and likely Time Warp Flank means that he's not trying too hard to all in. Maybe just trade and out-sustain the other guy.
Yeah, I think the prevalence of Time Warp Tonic really gives you a nice laning phase early on, and that's a lot of what that mid lane matchup is who can poke the other one out. Unfortunately, Peckenwolf came out on the wrong side of that. Still has minion dematerializers to get the push on, but some of those early laning sustain choices have not really worked out in his favor yet, but maybe this is the kind of matchup where it gets harder and harder as we see these trades really going in Peckenwolf's favor.
That was a nice trade. Twilight Shroud down, but not going to have to walk back in and leave it as the wave crashes in towards his turret. Also checking back in with our junglers. It is Red Smite plus a longsword versus Tiamat as Sun continuing to eat poke. Nice trade back and forth there as Peckenwolf tries to get some damage down and proc the sigils. And here comes Moon and No into the mid lane. Moon just trying to clear it out.
The No classic going in to support his team, but can't really target him with the heroic charge with the obscure shroud up, so has to back off. And this is kind of what we're talking about, how No plays in the top lane, more of a tank player, more looking to work with the support of his team, roams out of top lane to try and make something work in the mid lane, but nothing doing.
Catches the wave though. Max Trobo, again, despite some good laning right now, doesn't have too much he can really do his own. In fact, if he can get out of the lane and do the same thing, pretty good setup there on a potential gank. Otherwise, it's just tanks farming in the top side. We love to see it as Meteos down to the bot lane. Oh, that's a lot of value. 3 traps there as Quan goes in. Does knock up on a Vulcan, but Quan almost in danger of getting stunned. Here's Piglet. Ulti gonna find the shot. Now Ari's gonna tank the next few up. Bends that bullet. Does hit Ari with the last one, but not too much poke there with the level 1 Jhin ult.
They have to be careful. There's a lot of skirmishing happening now around the bot side. Meteos gonna go aggro onto Sun maybe.
Shuriken flips away. Oh, actually takes the dash back, forcing the flash from Meteos as Moon was also ready with the smoke screen. Slick play there from Sun just to kind of turn that pressure right around. Meteos though not having any of it. Going back to the Scuttle Crab with Peckenwolf, and he's going to claim it for himself.
Yep, and they're going to be able to secure that. The flash by Meteos, pretty preemptive, and that feels like one of those ones where people quite aren't sure how much damage Akali does, and with Graves there also being level 6 at the time, 7 now, they have a lot of burst available, and so he just wanted to play that one safe and get out of there.
I think everyone remembers how dangerous old Akali with items was, and I feel like when you rework a champion like that, you just assume they're always like old Akali with items. You just never want to get all in and die.
Well, I mean, we've seen it too, where Akali gets the jump on a jungler and kills him at 6. I think PoE did that in the LCS last week, and so I can understand the concern there, wanting to get away ASAP.
Too many bad memories from solo queue, perhaps. Gank mid lane and died of the Akali. His son is going to pick up that blue buff, flips himself back over the wall, and is going to continue farming up a storm. Peckenwolf is back now with Sork Shoes completed again, really trying to poke out Sun, but Akali doing a good job of tanking a lot of that poke and just farming through the lane.
Yep. Scaling on up for both of them. A little bit slower of a game than I would have anticipated, maybe due to the fact that Clutch's power point is on the Jhin and the Braum, a little bit more defensive of a laning phase.
Fortunately, gets attempted there by Peckenwolf. Electrocute procs though. They're going to move back into the empowered auto. It's going to pop LeBlanc's passive. See if that forces Peckenwolf away. Here's bot lane though. Vulcan may be ready with the ult. Eri is going to try and block it up. Aquan makes his way into the backside. The Tendy Corruption can't quite bend around the Unbreakable, but still the damage down to Piglet. He's dead in a 2v2, and now Vulcan going to be forced to run away. Has Flash, has Cleanse, but will walk out of there.
Yeah, and there you see Eri backing up the talk at the top of the day. Able to get the 2v2 kill on the Piglet. A nice engage by Quan, kicked it all off, and then the ultimate onto Vulcan allowed Eri to kind of sidestep him and eventually on the Q. More skirmishing in the jungle.
Ooh, Pillar not quite going to be there. Moon almost takes down Meteos by himself, but no, finds the stun into the wall, and Meteos collects the kill. Now they've got to get away from the Akali. No, going to move towards Peckenwolf and maybe sacrifice himself to save his teammate. Peckenwolf not going to get knocked up, but Meteos around a patch of fog is trying to get out safely. Vulcan, though, is going to sniff that out, and that's going to be another kill. Maybe again to the Akali. Flips over once, it grabs the shutdown, and Sun gets 2 kills.
Ruh-roh. This Akali starting to turn online. Good decision to hand that kill over to him. Going to make much better use of that than an Ornn or a Braum would have. And it feels like they wanted to answer this aggression down the bot lane 2v2. We'll take another look at how this one goes. A nice engage. Vulcan doing his best to stop Eri from getting all of the extra DPS in, but Quan was able to drop enough damage on himself, plus the Ignite to set that one up. Piglet having TP instead of heal, and then like we said, up on the top side, they tried to answer with some aggression of their own. They are able to kill Moon, but he had dropped a ton of damage down and kind of set himself up to be able to clean this with the help of Sun up. Max Strobo also contributing, and then Meteos has been split away from the team, trying to figure out a way to go. Vulcan does spot him, and then, like you said, hand the kill over to Sun. Why not? This Akali in an assassin versus assassin matchup. If you can get ahead, start getting the advantage in the split push and the 1-3-1, you become a big problem.
Was enough money to finish Hextech Gunblade, so I think well worth it to donate the gold over to Sun. Moon is trying to take this Rift Tower, leashing it all the way towards the blue. It will reset, unfortunately for him, was close to taking it, but not quite enough, as it will be back on the table for either team as Meteos does slay the crab out front of the pit.
And now we have Peckenwolf going back to base. We'll see what he can grab, but I have a feeling it will not quite be as nice as the Gunblade.
You're right, just a lost chapter and a pink ward.
That's not as fun. I mean, it will help, hopefully, if he can just kind of W spam the wave and try and keep it pushed in and limit Akali's influence. But from here on out, with that item advantage, it does feel like Sun will have control of this laning phase and can dictate what he wants to do with it. We'll see if he goes for some of those nifty Akali harasses under the turret that you're able to do, or if he tries to actually spend that pressure somewhere else. Maybe getting the bot lane back in Piglet's advantage.
Right now, this takes out 2 pink wards, so already using his advantage by pushing that wave and moving forward. Moon here actually trying to threaten a gank on a Peckenwolf. Pretty tricky to kill LeBlanc with Flash. Sun, though, nice flip back, actually does get some harass down. Pops the Shroud again, looking for the kunai. Finds it. Procs electrocute Sun, trying to dash back forward. And Peckenwolf does distort away.
See the danger there and some nifty play by Sun. We're talking about how he... As we, hold on, got some more action around this first.
Meteos getting chased off the Rift Tail. Nice ult from No, but looks like Rift Tail maybe going to get impatient again.
TP coming in.
Yeah, TP here. Max Trover also ready with the ulti. This might be too far forward. No with a great block there. Onto the recast out of Max Trobo's ulti. That's going to let Meteos live and also let Poppy walk away.
Yeah, cost a TP, but they're able to grab the Rift Tail for themselves, which, if that turns into a turret, will absolutely be worth the TP.
Dive though, potentially incoming. Piglet, knowing this, is going to play very far back in the lane. Wave is thinning out, so Eri's going to have to wait for at least one more wave to try and take down this turret, and Vulcan, by the looks of things, will make it back in time to defend it. Peckenwolf again going to bounce back forward. Pilot tried down. Peckenwolf, no cooldowns by the looks of things. Sun going to have to be careful here though. Just trying to, again, get that wave. Peckenwolf going to dive in, looks for the kill, but Drew can flip away, keeps Sun safe. That's FlyQuest Academy in onto the Ocean Drake, make it 2.
That's what we're talking about with Meteos, the superior objective control almost got the Rift Herald for himself. Clutch Gaming was able to react and shove them off it, but he instantly flips back down to the bot side and grabs that one away for himself with the help of some good laning by Pekkenwolf, securing kind of mid lane pressure to make sure that there was no contest coming in there. You can just see how touch and go that mid lane matchup is. Pekkenwolf behind on items still chunked him down to about 20% before Sun could really do anything about it. And previously we had saw Sun getting very aggressive on Pekkenwolf, so still feels like it's anybody's ball game in the mid lane.
Yeah, one of those nice things, I suppose, about Assassin matchups is they tend to be pretty volatile. And Sun continuing to try and keep LeBlanc away. Play to the Ruin King now finished for Eri, who did go back and spend his gold, so going to match that first item by for Piglet, as he did get that Storm Laser first. It's like just taking back timing of their own, but bot side has looked good so far for FlyQuest Academy. Like you said, Eri backing up that talk. He's ahead 20 CS. Does CG take that next back?
A big advantage for him there. They still have the Rift Herald on the side of Clutch Gaming, and so while they are down 1,000 gold, it does feel like they have the easier way back into this game. And for people who just didn't know what happened there, you can E your Shroud, so you don't actually need to hit a champion or a minion or anything. You can just kind of throw it in the ground, and as long as it lands in the Shroud, you can take it back into your Shroud. So in case Akali didn't have enough options for mobility, why not give her one more?
Gank incoming. Here's Quan. Meteos also at the ready, but Moon is here, so potential 3v3. It looks like both teams will just get out of that one without the jump. Doesn't really feel like a good time to go for an engagement. Meteos instead just going to fall back, consolidate, taking out that vision control, and now back in with a wraparound potentially. Ooh, very sneaky.
And you're seeing a lot of pressure around this bot lane for two reasons. You see Meteos get a nice pillar on the Vulcan.
Oh, Quan does find it. There's a chain as well. Pekkenwolf also going to dive back in, so Vulcan dead. Quan gets credit for the kill, but the TP's in for both sides here. Now Max Strober going to try and make something happen, but Eri's already shooting him. No slam, someone into the wall. I think it's a carry. No, it's Moon instead on the jungle position as Max Strober getting knocked around. Going to pop the ult, but he'll die before he can recast it. That's FlyQuest Academy taking 2 kills.
Nice play by FlyQuest, kicking it off by interrupting the jump by Vulcan. Good play by Quan there, having an excellent game on this Alistar so far. That gets him the first kill, and then by the time Max Strobo TP's in, the rest of Clutch Gaming had actually kited up to the top side towards the River Brush. Take another look at this. So much attention down this bot lane by both teams. There's the headbutt pulverize to interrupt the jump, and then the ult follow-up by Eri to make sure he doesn't go anywhere. Both TPs come in, but it feels like Clutch have a hard time getting through this choke point with the Poppy coming in, whereas Max Strobo ends up in the middle of the enemy team as well. They're able to focus him down with the man advantage. Noah's able to get out. No one's able ever to help Max Strobo, and so a nice play by FlyQuest Academy there. Gonna go on and push the turret afterwards.
We'll get the first turret gold as a result. Moon did channel the Rift Herald in mid lane though. Was able to get that tower trade at least, but as a result with the extra gold there and those kills and those successful fights, despite the objectives being somewhat close, FlyQuest up 3,000 gold here, just under the 18-minute mark.
Yeah, really nice play by them. Both teams were hovering around the bot lane. FlyQuest wanted to make a play with their stronger bot lane that they had, and Clutch Gaming were looking to counter that or potentially make their own and then use the Rift Herald to break the first third of the game. Just did not work out for them. And now, like you said, that 3,000 gold lead, and especially given the fact that it's coming from a shutdown Piglet, makes it very scary for Clutch to try and get back into this game.
Yeah, and now Pekkenwolf fighting again versus Sun. Akali's so low. Pekkenwolf there ready with a flash. When the cooldowns come back up, he can probably just look for the kill with Flash Q Ignite. Still waiting it out. Here's Moon. Pekkenwolf maybe going to chase this, but Moon is going to try and stop it. Gets the red smite down. Now he himself is going to get chained up. Forced to flash away as Moon does flash into that chain route. So just a couple trades and Sun will stay alive.
Yeah, still got the flash out though. If Moon got one more auto attack and then an ult off, maybe would have been able to find the kill, and Pekkenwolf did not want to risk that, so he dipped on out of there. And now with Varus in the mid lane, he is the lethal, or excuse me, the lethal tempo Varus, so they're not going quite for the pokey look, but they're still going to go for the 1-3-1 with the assassin mid laners down the bot side.
Meteos and Max Strobo though, having a meeting, no flash stun, charges into the wall. That's Max Strobo dead thanks to Subjugate. Meteos the one to get the kill.
A really nice play out of Meteos. Still kind of dictating the pace of this game, all things considered. The early objective control, the solo kill early on, and then when his bot lane found their own solo kill, he played around them very well. And this is what we were saying Meteos is so good at. When he does have a lead, he knows what the team's win conditions are and how to snowball that game very effectively. Peckenwolf might be in trouble here.
Double dash away, flash ulti. Oh my god, he dodged it! Peckenwolf trying to dance out of there. Looks like he might die. I think the passive actually saved him from Jin W. Still dies to Piglet's auto. But now Eri gonna fight back as Piglet really wants blood.
That was a bit of an oopsie there. Doesn't look like they're done fighting though.
Vulcan getting jumped on, already burnt the flash and the ult to try and secure that kill earlier, but no follow-up there as the Deadly Flourish. Not gonna root in onto Eri. Moon also dancing back through his Piglet's ult. Sun also looking for the backline, trying to assassinate someone, gonna dive in there. Whoa, moves out the Q. Still moving back in, slam by No, that should protect the rest of the team. Sun over the wall, Shuriken flips there, now gonna dash in onto No, popped his ult. One more cast, I believe. Here's No, again about to get stunned. Flash auto is enough. There's the on ult there as Max Strober gonna try and follow up. Down the lane instead.
Yeah, I guess he just decided to use that one for wave clear because there weren't any more kills available, but Clutch Gaming finds some kills to answer back. They're still down a turret and some CS, but you see their mid-game skirmishing is still very strong, especially if they can take out the LeBlanc right at the start of it. Very well-played fight overall by Clutch, showing that they still have hope in this game.
I thought Peckenwolf had the fancy moves, but not quite enough to get him out of this sticky situation.
Yeah, the flashes being traded out earlier on means that he should be a lot more careful here, but I don't think he knew where Vulcan was. And so he goes for the flash and forces Peckenwolf back into the rest of his team. And from here, there's no more mobility, no more tricks really for the LeBlanc. So Piglet finds that kill, and then FlyQuest think, okay, well, they burned a lot of cooldowns. Maybe we can reinitiate this fight. And they try and go into Vulcan, but he's just too tanky. Piglet kites out. And then with that Jin being able to kind of reinitiate the fight with his ultimate, it allows Sun to be able to collapse in on the Akali. And some damage lands onto Eri, which scares them into full retreat mode and not really wanting to fight. And then No kind of gives his body up. That tank player that we're talking about makes the right decision to peel Sun, but then that leaves him too far forward. And then the just really nice layering of CC. They get the Hextech Gunblade slow, which then allows Vulcan to keep getting the procs off. The Piglet W comes in, and they kill a very tanky Poppy.
Works out there for Clutch, still trailing about the same amount of gold, but do get some back for themselves as Piglet has finished 2 items and Sun is on the way with an Oblivion Orb now picked up. Behind in turrets is going to start to be the next story as Sun actually transferred here to the top lane. Looks like mid lane are going to swap up to the side lanes as you were alluding to. Meteos though, trying to apply some pressure. He's going to find the controller, but it's 2v3 right now. Meteos again, he's going to get tagged. Sun going to jump back on. He burns the flash as Peckenwolf back over, but Moon doesn't quite die. Sun instead,
he got
on a
heal.
killing spree.
The Ignite would have killed him, but they got the heal from the Triumph, so he's able to stay alive there, avoiding the 1-for-1 kill. Now they have pressure on the map. We'll see what Clutch Gaming can do. They have turrets in both the top and the bot lane, but it feels it's going to be hard to get into that bot lane, so see if they can grab any more objectives on the tail end of that fight.
Yeah, No still doing a good job pushing in Max Strobo. Sun is trying to do something with his turret here in the top lane. Kali, not great on the wave clear, but not so bad now that she's maxed out her Q.
And has blue buff, very important for Akali in a side lane to be able to push waves without having to use your W to get your energy back. And that's what makes her a little bit more of a threat. Even though she's an energy user, she is one of the best blue buff energy users.
One looks like setting a play up again. Instead just going to guard Eri as he walks over a Jin trap. Mid out of turret still up here for Clutch Gaming is a nice point for them to play through. In particular, Piglet has a pretty easy time accessing farm as he's actually moving fairly quickly towards the 3-item mark. Eri also with his Rage Blade finish on the other side, so things kind of heating up. FlyQuest still holding that lead, but like you said, have been playing a relatively slow pace of games so far, and it does feel like that pace doesn't seem like it needs to be rushed right now. Still kind of being dictated to by whatever Meteos wants to play, and right now there are camps to take.
Yeah, but you do feel like FlyQuest has lost a little bit of momentum with all these skirmishes going in Clutch's favor. They're starting to get some lane priority back. Akali's able to push up. You see Piglet doing the same, as Eri has not had a chance to shop yet. They're around similar gold. Piglet at 8.7. Eri actually at 9.7. So a little bit of a gold advantage in his favor. Once he shops, he'll be able to pick up another BF sword maybe if he wants to start working towards one of those items. But he has no crit yet, and Piglet has to flash from that combo.
Yep. Killer Poss heroic charge. Probably would have been a kill, but Piglet does flash away. Now it's Clutch's turn to collapse back in the mid lane as they do actually have good vision over Baron. Eri also looking back. Vulcan was hoping he was staying there.
It was a clever move. I think the only problem was that ward that is on the ramp is not getting canceled out by the one that is in the pixel brush, and so they were able to see them collapsing. Very tricky play there. I like the idea of it by Vulcan. They knew where he was recalling, just not quite able to get it.
With that, FlyQuest actually staying on the map, still wanting to clear all those control wards away. Do get both, so just the speed trying up now for vision. Oh, Eri getting cancelled again.
This is interesting because they don't really have vision of where he's trying to recall. It's just a common spot for AD carries to go there. And they're kind of picking on him for it.
Now they have vision, though.
Yeah, this time they do.
Doesn't walk into the rush.
There's another W coming your way. Piglet's just...
Yeah.
Come on, buddy. The first couple ones were cute.
Yeah,
like you see him
good guesses by Clutch.
You see him clear the wave and then step out to the top side, so you're like, okay, I know where he's recalling. This is a pretty common spot. That one, like you said, just take an extra step into the brush. Maybe Piglet shoots it there again anyways, though. Another common recall spot.
Yeah. Could be tough. The Sun actually does get the turret, able to equalize that objective and cut that gold lead down to only 2,000. Clutch, like you said, with FlyQuest momentum feeling pretty halted here in this game. Clutch able to play and scale up. And like we said, Piglet is always a dangerous player, not just in lane, but Jin does scale very, very well as a champion. So as he moves towards item 3 especially, looks like Infinity Edge will be the one. Wait, did the rest be changed back yet?
Yeah, it's back to that.
Okay. I was like, wait a second.
Yep, no longer the double BF sword path. And Piglet on 3 items might be better than Eri with the fact that Eri will not have any crit. He'll have the high percentage health burn with the Ginsu's double procking his Blade of the Rune King, but Piglet will have an IE with actual crit scaling built into it, so might end up being the stronger opponent.
Clutch maybe doing the right thing by prioritizing Baron, because that build does shred through monsters pretty efficiently. Plus, in like FlyQuest, so we're just trying to siege this mid turret and open up even more of the map for themselves.
Oh, Moon.
Base check time, yep, right into the chain. Forced to flash away, but still the electrocute procs. Takes about 50% of his health off.
Yeah, with the Luden's Echo completed for the LeBlanc, it's very easy to get that off. You only need a 2-spell combo. You don't need to land the W, you don't need the second proc of the chain, or an auto attack or anything fancy. Very easy.
Blue buff over to Sun, so despite the pressure from FlyQuest in that area, Clutch still able to get the buff and keep the
Horn
alive. Here's Max Trovo. Oh, he finds one! Eri actually in the front side, but Quan trying to block a lot of that off. It's actually now Vulcan getting counterattacked on and does go down to Peckwolf Sun. He's diving all the way in the back. He wants Eri so bad, but a stun from No is so clutch as Peckwolf gonna shut that down. Now Piglet getting pulverized on. Everybody piles on to Eri, but nobody can take him down.
Yeah, I got some Lee syndrome there from Sun. Was able to fly all the way through the fight. He took the E. It was a really clever trick, what he did. It just doesn't actually work out for him. And as a result, with those 3 kills, excuse me, Clutch Gaming can turn on the Baron buff. No way to really contest this with Moon having lost his flash just previously. They're going to trade out for a Dragon, but that might have been the game-winning fight for FlyQuest now with this Baron buff in their favor.
Certainly kind of the first step towards that goal, as Drake is at least going to go over to Clutch, but let's watch this one again.
All right, so they find a good angle onto Eri, but Quan, very importantly, is able to get in the way of the Piglet W, rooting himself up instead of Eri. Then from here, Vulcan's going to get burned down, and Sun ends up taking a very, very janky pass through the E and then R'd onto Eri, but was not able to get his Shroud down, so he was able to get focused that entire time, gets cleaned up very easily. Piglet now out of position. I believe that was the Alistar who put him there.
Yep.
So easy kill onto the immobile Jin after that. FlyQuest going to clean this one up.
Yep, win the fight pretty handily, and now finally barrel down the mid outer turret. Not going to be too many turrets left, potentially after this as well. Mid tier 2 is almost assuredly dead. Looks like Clutch will correctly give that one up. Sun is trying to push in that top lane, but this may just encourage FlyQuest to continue barreling down mid lane.
Yeah, it's one of those tough situations because Akali hovering around mid lane, she's not going to wave clear any better, but at least she'll protect from a potential 5v5 dive. So is going to end up recalling to make sure that FlyQuest can't just get a 5v4 team fight under the turret.
Bold distortion there from Peckenwolf. He's also going to try and put some auto attacks in onto the turret as it distorts away. Sun is back. Does actually find a decent
have that mark on him still.
Yep.
Oh,
no.
the W denial.
Shuts it all down, and that's maybe going to be a kill. Instead, the stopwatch popped. But now No again still tanking up Vulcan's ulti. Really good poppy play this game. Oh, Peckenwolf, that's it. Never mind. It's an illusion. And the turret in mid will fall down. FlyQuest just destroying these structures. There's been some cool interactions this
Oh,
game.
baby. I love assassin play. The more, the better for me. I love talking about all those little interactions, and you get to see how important it is for people to have situational awareness with how much outplay comes in. No potentially saving Peckinwolf's life there. Not only obviously stops a kill from coming through, but allows that siege to continue, allows them to grab that mid inhibitor, and make sure that they can keep using this Baron buff effectively.
Red buff also going to get grabbed. In fact, some of the squad is still here. No, with another flash done. And now into the pillar for Moon. Smokescreen is going to prevent the follow-up damage, but Moon lucky to be alive after that one.
Yeah, no, sitting at 0, 2, and 4 does not look like the most impressive scoreline, but this is kind of the story of No all year long. Fantastic engages when his team is ahead, always hungry, looking for more opportunities, and sets his team up to look fantastic. Having another good game for himself. And all of FlyQuest really stepping up. No one has underperformed this game. Good engages by Quan in the bot lane to get those early 2v2 kills. Airy obviously contributing with those. Peckinwolf holding his own in the assassin versus assassin matchup. Meteos getting the early jungle advantage, snowballing topside, and then all 5 of them working together.
Yeah, mid inhib is still down, don't forget, with 45 seconds left on the Baron buff. FlyQuest Academy going to try and take another inhib if they can. Should be able to get at least this tier 2 turret. I think it's going to be the inhibitor turret. That's the real prize for FlyQuest, as they've ballooned up to 7,500 gold ahead, and make it more as this turret falls.
Only got about 2 more waves left to try and use. There's one more coming behind them, and the one that they have right now. FlyQuest are definitely going to want to turn that into another inhibitor.
Smoke screen down, Max Turbo ready with the ulti though. Wave clear for Moon. He pokes out with his ultimate.
Third at half HP, but it doesn't feel like they're going to be able to really walk up and get that much more damage on.
Peckinwolf again just trying to move over the wall and poke with some good defensive vision here from Clutch. He's going to prevent some of that pressure, and looks like Baron has worn off for the most part. Although super minions aren't causing issues, so FlyQuest may have just enough time to take down this turret. They're going to try at least one more wave.
Yep, doesn't feel like they want to back off. There's not much else on the map for them to get. The Infernal Drake still respawning. A nice 4,000 gold power play. So they're just going to keep playing this slow. They don't have anything else to do, keeping Clutch Gaming pinned up in their base now.
Yep, No walks up, takes some shots, but not enough threat for them to take down the turret, so FlyQuest will finally pull away. Infernal Drake up in a minute 55. So that's a play for off that spawn. Clutch did get 1 Drake after that Baron, as kind of a pretty poor consolation prize, but one nonetheless. FlyQuest still holding strong in the objective front with those 3. This Clutch trying to find a way back into this game.
Doesn't feel like they have too many options. Pretty similar team comps, all things considered. Tank in the top side, 1 bruiser jungle, 1 marksman jungle, but then assassins in the mid lane, tanks in support with utility marksman means when you fall behind, it's not like you have extra plays in your playbook than the enemy team does. It's really going to come down to the enemy team making a mistake and you being ready to punish it. But FlyQuest, what we're saying the whole time is that they have great teamwork and they play very well from ahead. And you can see that on display in this game. Up 8,000 gold, starting to try and work down the inhibitors in the side lanes, but going to probably take a small detour for that Infernal Drake in a minute.
Yep. Might as well wait, sweeping through. No vision really whatsoever for Clutch in their red side jungle. So they know absolutely they cannot walk through that area.
Nope, going to push out the mid wave and then try and move in for the river. Max Strobo getting a little frisky, but he's a tank.
Someone's going to face check, might as well be on. Control what is in that brush, but should be swept up pretty soon. Peckinwolf just going to dash in, make sure that goes down. And all the while, No is trying to get the minions pressured in onto that bot side. Peckinwolf again going to dive in. Good distortion, just chunks down Moon and Piglet.
That's one of the things that they're lacking on the side of Clutch Gaming's comp is any sort of point-and-click lockdown, and Alistair can quickly pulve that. You can have an Airy ultimate come in, and so not like they have a LeBlanc on Clutch Gaming side, but it is much harder to lock her down when you only have the Ornn and the Braum for the ultimate for engages.
Yeah, CC takes maybe a little too long here, as Infernal Drake on spawn will be taken down by FlyQuest. So one going back to probably charge up that sidestone, and Baron up in about 45 seconds.
Yep,
FlyQuest Academy will continue to play the map.
Gonna have to flip their vision up to the top side now. You see Pink Ward, 2 Pink Wards down the bot side of the map, 1 in the river, 1 deep in the jungle. You're gonna want to get those on the top side to make sure you can snuff out all of Clutch Gaming's vision. But Peckinwolf still using that vision to potentially find Piglet here.
Oh, can't see him, but maybe if they got Orcs any further forward. Order the wave. Peckinwolf is going to be patient here. And now knows he's there. Piglet again going to get dashed on, but good block from Vulcan. Piglet's trying to find that LeBlanc. In him back in mid lane. Clutch Gaming may have enough space to try and contest for this Baron.
Does feel like they're going to need to just all in on something here. You can all in on the Baron, or you can all in on one of your inhibitor turrets to try and defend, but you will need to win a fight, and you will probably need to be the ones pulling the trigger to do it. You see them kind of looking for these opportunities.
Oh, no, Sun flashing the corruption after the headbutt pole, and that's a kill for Eri. And that's probably all the chances of Clutch contesting this Baron going.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons people feel so... I feel like it's so difficult to take a good fight around the Baron buff when the enemy team has all the time in the world to set up for it. They get tons of vision control down, you have a hard time clearing it, and then you make one mistake, you skip over one ward, and the enemy team knows exactly where you're coming from. And with that, FlyQuest very easily going to grab this Baron buff.
Eri just getting knocked up. I guess just hanging out. Maybe maybe right-click the Baron, put your hands on the keyboard, little
Hey,
red.
you don't need to play all the little mini games with Baron when you're this far ahead.
That's
no
true.
one's contesting.
It's a long series, Mark. You're right. Gonna have to conserve some of that energy.
Keep that mental prowess. Turn your brain off when you can.
Moon is, oop, yep, getting out of there. Pekkamov says, I don't think so. Gonna force the flash. And now this turret's dead as well. FlyQuest 7 turrets to 2 as that one crashes down. And mid inhib's up, but not really a thing they need to worry about right now. Just siege and force something here. Clutch Gaming are running out of good options.
Yeah, Pekkamov just trying to land some harass down there onto the tank, so not super effective. And it does feel like FlyQuest is struggling a little bit to burn these turrets down. They still have the mid lane inhibitor up. Surprised they did not grab that one for free before then. But that's some good poke.
Yeah, despite LeBlanc kind of leaping in there, not a true projectile. Falcon can't really do too much to stop that harass on the Piglet. Oh, that looks good, but not enough. Pekkamov able to get out of there still.
And I like the play by Pekkamov. We're talking about the lack of guaranteed lockdown CC, which allows him in these 5v5 situations to dash in and try and poke out backline members. Sun did use his ultimate there, but it's only about a half-second stun, so did not really stop him from being able to get out. And they grab the top inhibitor now, gonna kind of do a little ring around the rosy as they swing mid and then potentially bottom.
Yeah, Sun's like trying to cut the wave here, but FlyQuest's just gonna walk in and do the same here. Just gonna guide the minions in and threaten that mid inhibitor once more. I can see 2 members of Clutch down very far bot lane. I think maybe they thought they were gonna go there first, but FlyQuest's just gonna walk in and take this as a result.
They are not even gonna bother going. They see those people down the bot side. That to them signals it's go time.
Yep. No should be able to stop this again, just zoning off Max Trobo. Does actually get far enough back to get the knockback, but not really enough here. One Nexus turret already dead as Quan trying to block some of the damage incoming from Piglet's ulti. Piglet holds on, does get the shot down, but Quan's ult's still up, keeping him pretty safe, and now Max Trobo gonna get jumped on, forced to watch away. Zahn trying to dive in, he needs to get a carry. Eri is kind of low here. Piglet actually is able to get a kill onto No. Clutch will defend their base here, but it's not pretty.
Yeah, got a little over eager there as they took the first herb, but continued to try and chase down and look for kills. Piglet got chunked out, and then doing what Jin does, contributing from the back side of the fight. They do kill the enemy tank, but 1 death is not the end of the world, but it might be the end of this push. As we'll take another look. Max Strobo gets a really nice ultimate. It's like a 3-4-man knockup, which stalls this out. Pekkamov's on the other side, who was trying to chunk people out, but now they're split up a little bit as people are not sure who to go on. And Sun does a good job harassing on the side of this fight with his Q spam in the Shroud. No one's able to really stop him from doing this, and it makes it hard for everyone else to walk up. While Necalli's off on the right side, you clearly don't want to walk forward, and so everyone's zoned away, Nose left on an island, and the back line of Clutch Gaming can DPS him down.
Well, despite the mishap, FlyQuest Academy still playing aggressively here. We only have 1 inhibitor to try and take down here in the bot lane, and a little bit of Baron buff left to play with. Pekkamov is going to get this pushing. And Clutch just need to try and delay the game as long as possible at this point.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind seeing FlyQuest, there we go. Maybe could have waited a second to do that under turret, but I do like the idea of TPing in and trying to get aggressive here. Just go in and combo them off the wave, potentially even.
Ooh, Pekkamov kind of got stopped, does get rooted by Piglet, but enough of a distraction there to get some of that damage onto the turret. Still not quite full damage as Sun is going to dash back away.
Double Ocean Drake, though, able to heal up very quickly, as well as Quan giving some healing.
And that turret's dead. Now the fight's going to break out. Meteor's there just going after the tank now, tanking everybody up there. Piglet does get stopped by Quan, and that's a shutdown by Pekkamov. Now going to leap forward, takes out Vulcan as he deletes the whole bot side. And now Max Strobo flashing in towards the enemy. The Sun going to ride in. Oh my God! Kill Meteos. No! Does barely take him down with the Ignite, but he's dead. That's almost an ace. Max Trobo left in the fountain to watch his Nexus die. Looks like FlyQuest Academy, they'll dive in, they'll get their last kills, they'll do some victory dances as they have claimed Game 1 in the quarterfinals of Academy Worlds.
And it's a big statement game too, as Airy shows he's not scared of Piglet, takes the 2v2 against him, finds the kill. And we see Pekkamov playing the assassin versus assassin matchup and quickly proving us wrong. And a lot of what we were saying to lead into this matchup.
Yeah, mid lane matchup, I think a lot spicier than we were anticipating, but I think the overall identity for the team stays pretty strong. That man on your screen, Meteos, doing a really good job again, just dictating, controlling, making sure the team stays focused. And despite a lot of good execution on both sides, it did feel like overall FlyQuest game plan was just a little bit more solid.
Yeah, I think they got some early advantages that you would be surprised to see them getting, both that really early kill in the Trundle versus Graves matchup, as well as the 2v2 kill on the bot lane. And with those, they're able to really kind of turn those into a lot of advantages. And then, like we were saying, FlyQuest is so measured as a team that if you give them that small advantage, they will very intelligently grind that out into what we eventually saw as the game.
Yeah, I mean, we did see, like you said, the Airy really stepping up to the plate. We actually have a replay. You can see FlyQuest kind of building advantage off, again, that strong macro play that we were talking about. We'll have a check in there with the bot lane in just a second, as we will check this out.
Yeah, as you see, Pekkamov gets priority in the mid lane. He goes to meet up with Trundle, who is already kind of set up in position around this. And they just know how much attention that Clutch wants to have. You heard them saying in their interviews, it's a 3-man lane down there with how much help Piglet gets. And so they know that there's a potential fight. They catch Vulcan out, who's in warding duty, and then it turns into a full 5v5 as everyone starts TPing in. But with the early pickoff that they have, Max Trobo ends up TPing in the middle of 4, whereas No only TPs in the middle of 3, and they're able to find the kill on the No very well. And Quan had an absolutely monstrous game. I think this is one of the best games I've ever seen out of him. The 2v2 kill was initiated by him. That fight, interrupting Vulcan's jump to make sure he stays locked in place, that was him. And then he continued finding those kinds of plays over the course of the game, ending that highlight with punting Max Trobo back into the team. I
feel like in general, both the tank players in this case of Quan and No did a really good job on their respective champions, just stopping a lot of the aggression that Clutch drafted. They have this Graves, they have this Akali, and time after time, even Max Trobo, like, not an assassin by any means on, but a champion that wants to be proactive using their ulti. And I felt like he did it like twice. Yeah, he got 2 ults in that game.
We were saying it felt like FlyQuest comp did have some of the more options available to them. You have more ways of denying all the dashes. You have the Trundle to shred through the Ornn, and no surprise when they get the lead and they use all those tools correctly, it becomes a pretty easy game for FlyQuest to close out.
We'll look at our next replay though. FlyQuest Academy continued a strong run throughout this whole game. And this was some good stuff.
It's really scary because they find Airy, but a nice body block by Quan stops that engage from coming in. Sun tries to take that in, but goes way deeper than I think he wanted to, and gets popped pretty quickly there. And then the re-engage onto Piglet was a good job by Quan, quickly identifying the next target to go for and killing Piglet. And then they were able to grab a Baron buff after that, grind them out, and you can see they do stall out a little bit. There were some skirmishes between the 15 and 25 minute mark that didn't accelerate the game at all. But once they find that one fight and they get the Baron buff, they very quickly accelerate the game.
Yeah, and after that, I mean, FlyQuest, like you said, when they have the lead, they are very good at just continuing to play for the map, get further ahead, and then slowly build a big enough snowball that it's almost impossible to come back from the situation.
Especially like we were saying, 2 very, very similar comps. Becomes hard to try and do something unique against the other comp. So, oh, we're going to engage into you. It's like, great, we have a bunch of buttons to press to make that very difficult for you. You want to split push? Great, our assassin's bigger and ready to fight you. And it becomes, the options get cut off when you have the exact same team comps.
It did feel like FlyQuest draft maybe some of the added versatility helping them out. I mean, the amount of things that like Alistar and Poppy were doing to all these aggressive champions certainly seemed pretty problematic. And also, you mentioned Piglet getting pushed down all the way to Jhin. Not a bad champion by any means, and certainly something he could have done well on. But losing, 4 or 5 marksmen based on the draft, going all the way down to Jhin does feel kind of bad.
Yeah, this is definitely a game where I think, it's a best of 5, so there's a lot to learn. And as long as you say you decide to Clutch Gaming, make the correct adaptations from here, I think they have a lot of avenues to go forward through the rest of these games. And I am really excited to see what that's going to do, because this was a very surprising game where I think FlyQuest got a lot of advantages I was not expecting to have them get. And if they can continue to do that, this is a very difficult situation for Clutch.
Certainly have to agree. Overall, looking good. And like we said, Assassin's certainly something that I'm happy to see more of.
Oh, yeah.
In general, I'm curious, like, if we do swap back over sides, if FlyQuest, say, on the blue side for the next game, is it going to be the same story? Because I didn't expect Pekkamov to play LeBlanc. I feel like I have even less expectation of him being able to play something like Akali. But if you're playing mid lane right now, you kind of have to learn that champion.
Potentially. I mean, he even last week, FlyQuest was leaving the Akali up and letting him counterpick. He was going for the Rise with it, which got banned out this time. But he shows that he has multiple counterpicks available, so they can potentially just kill that Akali pick, saying, we don't need to ban it. I have counterpicks prepared. You're not going to ban out all my counterpicks. And then they get an advantage in draft that way, because that was a strategy that Clutch thought they could rely on, getting the Akali. Might not work out.
Well, a great opening game as FlyQuest Academy jump out to a lead in the series, but there are more games on the docket. We'll see if Clutch Gaming Academy can bounce back in Game 2, which is coming up right after the break. Trying to get the big one. I think Meteor smited that away. Must have been because he's now level 3 and Pekka going to roam up and find the chain Moon. Maybe a bit too aggressive and insta-flash forward. And first blood. Ooh, Pillar not quite going to be there. Moon almost takes down Meteors by himself, but no. Finds the stun into the wall and Meteors collects the kill. On the jungle position as Max Strober getting knocked around. Going to pop the ult, but he'll die before he can recast it. That's FlyQuest Academy taking 2 kills. He's in trouble here. Double dash away. Flash ulti. Oh my god, he dodged it. Peckinwolf trying to dance out of there. Looks like he might die. I think the passive actually saved him from Jin W. Still dies to Piglet's auto. He wants Eri so bad, but a stun from No is so clutch as Peckwolf going to shut that down. Now Piglet getting pulverized.